Welcome to Memento on Talbot, where we believe you should have luxury living for less because you should not have to live paycheck to paycheck for housing that you own. Memento on Talbot is partnered with Our Village Initiative to bring you the Community Homeownership Initiative, where we're connecting with the neighborhood to make sure that people are taking the necessary steps so that they can own in their neighborhoods. What does that mean? Making sure that you have your finances in order so that whenever opportunities arise, you are already ready and willing to move forward to purchase a home. We understand that today, home sale prices are high, rental prices are high, housing is increasingly unaffordable. So we have to make sure that we take care of home. We take care of what we need to so that when affordable opportunities arise, you can jump on them immediately. Okay. So the goal is to make sure you are focused on the goal. We want to communicate and have open lines of communication with you so that you are aware of what's coming, what you need to do, and where the progress or the process is, where we are in the process. We also want to make sure that you can own in your neighborhood. Why? Especially, you want to make sure that you can own at an affordable price. Because if you are able to leverage more of your income towards investing, as opposed to just paying for housing, right? That opens up a wealth building opportunity for you and for the next generation, right? So we want to make sure that home ownership is affordable so that you can leverage your savings to invest, whether that is to start a business, to go back to school for an advanced degree, or to actually invest in the stock market or other ventures, right? We want to make sure you have that opportunity because that's where real wealth begins, okay? When you're investing, hopefully that means you want to nurture the next generation and give back, right? Whether that's taking someone under your wing, helping to be more involved and engaged in your neighborhood and community meetings, but making sure that you have a say and a stake in terms of what happens in your community. That's how we truly bring about change. So a lot of times we hear people say, well, housing isn't affordable. What does it even mean to be affordable? Well, we want you to understand from a government perspective, they're saying it needs to be comfortably afford housing, right? And they go off of 30% of your income is generally where they are. What does that look like? You always hear for rentals, they say your income needs to be 3 times the rent. Why? Because they don't want more than a third of your income to go towards housing. So if you were to make $5,000 a month, so that's $60,000 a year, the max you should pay a month for housing is between $1,500 and $1,800 a month. And that's between the range of 30 to 36% of your income. That's the range that most lenders go for your housing ratio when you're thinking of purchasing a house, right? We want to make sure you can still afford the necessities of life. And when you're comparing how much it costs you to own versus to rent, the goal is that it is more affordable for you to own a home than it is for you to pay rent, right? Or at least the same, because in the long run, that means owning is going to come out a winner because you're paying yourself. So when we talk about affordability, we're looking at these numbers, and I think a lot of times people are a little bit confused as to what they mean. When we think about area median income, it's like, well, what does that mean, right? If you would align everyone up in the region and say how many people, you start on the left, how many people make the least amount of money, and you keep increasing until you get to the far right, those who make the most money for that region, the person who's in the middle, right, of those numbers or those incomes is your median income. So now we're taking a percentage of that. Who makes 80% of that number? Who makes 90% of that number? Who makes 100% of that number? So that we can calculate affordability to purchase a home. And you might be asking, well, why? Because in the current market, right, it really boils down to who has the most money wins. Which means if you have lower income, you are probably not going to win in a bidding war to purchase a home. So when they make deed restricted affordable homeownership opportunities, what are they saying is that they are setting aside homes specifically for people who are making certain income brackets, right? So that you don't have to compete or have a bidding war against someone who just makes more money than you. It doesn't mean that they are a stronger buyer. It doesn't mean that they are better than you. It just means they make more money. right? And that's not fair when we're thinking about equity and homeownership. So this gives us an opportunity to group people into income tiers and make homeownership available to you, same quality, same standards as those who are purchasing market rate units, but you don't have that same competition. Okay, so if you are a one-person household, we're going to look at this chart. A one-person household, so it's just you, you're single, right? For each income tier at 80%, you need to make at or below $91,440, right? So you can make less than this, you cannot make more than this. If you make more than this number, then you go into the next income tier, which would be at 90% area median income, which means you just need to make below $102,870. Right? So I want you to take a moment. You can pause this video and look at how large is your household. How many people are going to be moving into your home? And let's say you are looking at a 3-person household, okay? Now you're saying that would be at 80%. All 3 people's incomes combined need to be less than $117,520 or up to $146,900. For ease of reference, I tell everyone, look at the far right column because this is the max period, right? If you make below that, that just means you fall into one of the other income tiers, right? But you want to make sure you are below this number right here on the right. So as long as you're below 100% area median income for your household size, you're eligible for this opportunity. So we've talked about the income that's needed. Now we're going to look at the sales prices. So the sales prices are determined by numbers calculated by HUD, working with the city and a BPDA to identify what are the sales prices for the year 2024. Okay, so looking at those who earn at or below 80% of area median income, studios would sell at $180,800. Okay, that same studio for someone who makes more money, so we'll go all the way down to 100% area median income, they can afford a studio at $239,000, right? So these units will be the same, but they are priced differently so that everyone has an equal and fair opportunity to purchase. Because if the 80% buyer were putting an offer on the same house as the 100% buyer, guess what? The person at 100% would win every time because they can afford more money. On paper, they're going to be the stronger buyer because they have less debt, right? So the way we make this more equitable is making sure there's a range of prices based on income tier and household size so that everyone has an equal and fair opportunity to purchase a home. And the range is from studios all the way to 3-bedroom units, and you can see the varying prices of these. When we talk about affordable homeownership, affordable deed-restricted properties, there are a lot of myths out there, and I think it robs people of an opportunity to own because they listen to the noise and not to the facts. So let's talk a little bit about the facts, okay? You can qualify, or you have to qualify based on income, right? So that means as long as you earn at or below one of the income tiers that we spoke about earlier, you can go back and look at that, right? You can potentially own one of these units. That means they've done the calculations. It should not be more than that 36% of your income, right? Somewhere in that range is where you're going to fall for housing. The money that you're saving, because you're probably, a lot of people are spending closer to 50% of their income on housing, right? The money that you're saving, you can invest that, right? Whether you're investing in your career, investing in your future, you have options now because we know based on the numbers, you should have more disposable income on a monthly basis because not all of it is going towards housing. Okay. You must own or occupy these units, so you cannot turn them into rental property. They do want you to own or occupy. Why? Because these are created for people who are priced out of the normal market where investors play. These are geared towards helping households stay in their communities, right? So they want you to stay and build where you are, right? So you have to own or occupy, but you can sell in the future. And when you sell, or when you decide to sell, you cannot sell to an investor. You need to pay it forward and sell to an income eligible buyer. Just like you had to income qualify to purchase, the requirement is that you also identify someone who is also income eligible to purchase this opportunity as well. Okay. People have said that, well, I don't gain any appreciation, I don't gain any value or any equity in my home when I buy a deed restricted property because there are so many restrictions. Well, so yes, there are restrictions. You will not be able to sell at full market rate, right? In most cases. But why is that? Let's say a city is investing $250,000, $300,000 to build these units to make it affordable for you, right? So they're investing that money to write down the price of the units so that you can afford it. Do you think that it's fair that you can just turn around and then sell that for full market and walk away and no one else gets to benefit from that? Right? So it's the give and take of the market. They want you to benefit so you have affordable housing now. And what you do with that savings, that is your wealth building strategy. They want you to gain some equity and some appreciation in your home. So that's between 3 and 5% every year. So it's compounded annually that you do get in home value every year. And then they want you to sell it to someone who will also income qualify in the future. So it's kind of a pay it forward model so that they're helping you now. And they want you to help the next person in the future, right? And that's how cities and towns invest long-term into affordable homeownership opportunities. Another myth that we've heard is that homes are built with poor materials. Well, guess what? They have to pass city and state inspections, right? They have to go through the inspections department. So these are high quality homes that you're getting. Are you going to get the same home as someone who's paying $1 million? Probably not, right? If we're being honest, because there is a budget that people have to stick to. But do you get quality? Absolutely, right? Making sure that this home is built to last so that you have the foundation and you have the starting point, because this is considered your starter home, right? So making sure you have a strong foundation to build your future. You can upgrade and do things to your home because it now belongs to you moving forward. And you do get to factor those costs into when you are thinking of selling in the future so that you can potentially have a higher sales price. Okay. This is an excellent opportunity to invest in Boston real estate and your legacy. When you hear invest, you're like, wait, I'm an investor for this? No. What it means is you are investing in your future and in your legacy by becoming a homeowner, right? And therefore, you're investing in the strength and the diversity of Boston, right? So it's not that you can flip it, but it's more that you can have a true say and stake in your community. Feel free to drop questions in the comment section and we will respond to those. Let's talk about some of the features of this building, okay? So it is walking distance from the commuter rail and the local bus line. So the bus stop is right outside you don't even have to cross the street, right outside of your building. The commuter rail is about 1.5 blocks away, so you're close to the Talbot Ave commuter rail station. You are walking distance to restaurants and the grocery store, local boutiques, the bank, library, schools. You are so close to many local amenities, parks, community health centers. So you have a lot of resources available to you within your community, in addition to an amazing homeowners association or community association. The building features. This building features central air, energy efficient. It's an energy efficient building. You have stainless steel appliances, in-unit laundry, wood flooring. It is pet friendly. You have private parking and bike storage and ground level retailers. So there'll be 2 commercial retailers on the first floor of your building. And you also have a community space for entertaining. So if you do not want people or the whole world upstairs in your unit, you can bring them downstairs to host your events, whether it's watching the football game, whether it's hosting a party or a game night. You have all of these options available in this building. Also, it is very accessible. So there is an elevator and there are accessible units as well. So let's look at some of the floor plans, okay? And we will share with you guys, if you follow us on social media, Memento_ on Talbot, you will see the various renderings of what these units look like, okay? So I wanted to break down for you guys because I think sales prices is more of like a big number that doesn't really translate to my life now. So what does it look like for housing cost, right? So breaking down my monthly check that I have to write for my mortgage, which is my principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, my condo fees. What is the total that I have to pay every month to live in these units, okay? And like we said, they are different income tiers and therefore different sales pricing tiers, right, for the same unit. For a studio unit, you're looking at between $1,400 and $1,800 to own than compared to renting. We know in Boston, you're not finding anything brand new for under $2,000 for a studio. Okay. For a one-bedroom unit, that price or that all-in housing cost ranges from $1,600 to $2,200 a month, and that's inclusive of your condo fees as well. We want to make sure we're stating that these numbers that we're showing you or discussing today, these are based on the projected sales prices and looking at the current, so present-day interest rates and what's happening in the market. So the exact numbers for your monthly housing cost is subject to change pending the market conditions because we don't have control over that. But this is a good estimate based on today's numbers, what they look like. It could look the same in 2 months. It may be interest rates are higher or lower in 6 months. We do not know, right? So this is to give you an idea of what that looks like, not taking into account down payment assistance or anything like that. So it can be even more affordable for you to own than compared to renting. Brand new construction one bedroom, you're absolutely looking closer to that $2,200 to $2,400 for a one bedroom rental, and you have no equity in it. So now we're looking at two-bedroom units. That all-in cost is between $1,900 and $2,500 a month for you to own compared to renting, which we think is fabulous, especially when we think of the location of this project, the vicinity to a lot of the area amenities. It's definitely a walkable community for you. So I think it's a great price and a great opportunity to buy. When we think about your first home, right? These are not intended to be your forever home. Maybe for some people it will be, but thinking about your first home, how do I stabilize my housing costs? This is a great opportunity for you. Now we're looking at the 3 bedrooms, right? And that all-in housing cost is between $2,300 and $3,000 a month to own compared to renting. We know that right now in Boston, in the city of Boston, you will be hard-pressed to find a 3-bedroom for less than about $3,200 a month, especially if it is updated. They are offering you 2 bathrooms. Forget about it, right? You are closer to that $3,400, $3,500 a month for a 3-bedroom. So again, amazing opportunity to own compared to renting. Again, please drop your comments down below and we're happy to answer them. Send us a question, email us, and we will work with you to help make sure that you are ready. Now we're going to talk about money because there is a lot of down payment assistance out there and a lot of options that we want to make sure you take advantage of, okay? So there's a stash program where you can receive between $20,000 and $40,000. It's called a match savings program exclusively for first-generation, first-time home buyers. What does that mean? That means neither of your parents have owned a home in the U.S. So you are the first generation of your family to purchase a home. So there is down payment assistance available to you if you are eligible. You need to earn at or below 100% of the area median income. You guys have that chart in terms of what that looks like. They require that you save $2,000 of your own funds over the course of the year, and then Stash will match that up to about $40,000, okay? You do need to be, in order to be eligible, you need to be obviously a first-generation home buyer. You need to graduate from a CHAPA-approved first-time homebuyer program, which will provide the links for you guys at the end so you can register for your class, which is valid for 3 years. And then you need to have a minimum household income of $45,000. You might say, well, why? What if I make less than that? Well, determining the sales prices of these homes and just in general to purchase in Boston, it was determined and calculated that that is the minimum income for someone to afford living in Boston or living in Massachusetts, honestly, to pay the sales prices of homes currently, okay? You will be required to attend classes online, and once you graduate from that, you are eligible for these funds. They are on a first-come, first-served basis. So again, it's not guaranteed, but I tell people once you stay ready, you don't have to get ready for when opportunities arrive, right? The next one we're talking about is the One Plus Boston. And this is a partnership or a combination of the City of Boston and Mass Housing Partnership for their down payment assistance program and also just their low interest rate or discounted interest rate program. Okay. So to qualify for the One Plus Boston, you need to either be a resident of the City of Boston, employed in the City of Boston, not an employee of the City of Boston, right? So you just need to be employed in Boston, whether you work for the city, you work for CVS, you work for an auto body shop, it doesn't matter. As long as you work in Boston, so your paycheck show that you work for a company in Boston, you're eligible. Or if you were displaced in the last 2 years. So you've lived in Boston all your life and prices got too expensive and you had to move outside of the city. They don't want you to be penalized for that if you were recently displaced. So if that happened within the last 2 years, you are still eligible for this opportunity. What does that mean? Well, you get down payment assistance equal to 5% of the purchase price. Okay. So on a $100,000 house, that's $5 in down payment assistance that you would be eligible for. So 5% of whatever the purchase price is and all applicable closing cost as needed, right? And usually closing costs is an additional 2% or so of the sales price. So it's a huge savings that you no longer have to come up with, right? To be eligible for this, you need to make at or below 100% of area median income. And that down payment assistance goes up to $50,000. Again, the cap is 5% of the purchase price. And then if you earn above that, so between 101 to 135% of area median income, they cap it at $35,000. The interest rate will be reduced between 0.5% to 1%. So if the market is at, let's say, 6% right now, you'd be eligible for an interest rate of 5.5% to 5%, and we've seen lower, right? I don't want to say because numbers are changing by the time of this recording, but we've seen people who have been quoted in the fours for their interest rate. Okay, so it is possible, even in this high competitive market that we're in, to get a good price. Another benefit of this One Plus Boston is that you don't have private mortgage insurance, right? So that's an additional savings of at least a couple $100 a month. You'll have enhanced financial assistance, so reducing your interest rate even more. You also need to have less than $75,000 in assets. So when we're looking at your bank accounts, your investment accounts, your retirement accounts, and that's only including your Roth IRA because that is after you've paid your taxes on that money. They are looking at those funds or those assets to make sure that as long as you fall below those numbers, you are eligible for this program. You might say, well, why? Even if I have $75,000, homes are so expensive, I need all the down payment I can get. Well, if you have $75,000 saved across your assets, then you don't need down payment assistance. It would just be really nice to have down payment assistance. And they want to make sure that those who are most in need of these funds and these resources have access to them. Next, we have mass housing. So this is a great opportunity for those of you who have more than $75,000 saved in across all of your assets, okay? And that's between $25,000 and $30,000 in down payment assistance. It's a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. You have discounted mortgage insurance. So whereas the one mortgage has no mortgage insurance, you have a discounted mortgage insurance with mass housing. And you have something called MI Plus, which is a job loss assistance, which is amazing. So if you lose your job within the first 10 years of living or owning a home, then they will provide you with up to 6 months of covering your mortgage to make sure that you can spend that time focused on applying for a new job and not having to stress about paying your mortgage or if you're going to lose your home or not, right? They want you to be focused on acquiring a new job and just advancing, right? And not be stressed about the housing. This income limit is a little bit higher, so you just need to earn at or below 135% of area median income. Like I said, there is no asset limit. And this down payment assistance, what's different is it is a loan compared to the One Plus Boston. Those are grants, okay? So the $25,000 down payment assistance loan will have to be repaid at 2% interest over 15 years. Or you might be eligible for the $30,000 down payment assistance loan, which would be at a 0% interest payment deferred. So that means you don't have any payments until you sell or refinance your property sometime in the future. Okay. There are more down payment assistance programs out there, but these are for specific members of our community who may live in certain development projects or be part of certain programs where they have down payment assistance available for their members. So Madison Park, Urban Edge Development residents, they have up to $100,000 in down payment assistance, and Boston Housing Authority residents have up to $75,000 in down payment assistance. So you guys have heard me talk about why it's important to purchase and to own in your community, how much it's going to cost you to own in this project, which is in Dorchester. And now let's talk about how you qualify, right? We showed you where the money was, how to find the money, and we can help you with that. But now let's talk about how do you qualify? Well, you must be a first-time home buyer. Okay, that is rule number one, or qualification rule number one. You must complete your first-time home buyers class. If you have not completed your class yet, we encourage you to complete that now so that when these homes are sold in the future, become available, you will already have your certificate. You must be income eligible. We've shown you guys the numbers to ensure that you are income eligible for these. And if you have questions in terms of if you qualify on your income or not, let us know and we can put you in touch with a lender to review your exact numbers, okay? You must obtain a pre-approval from a lender for the purchase price. We showed you guys the purchase price. When you speak with a lender, they're going to make sure or have to confirm that based on your income, you can afford a home that costs X amount of dollars, right? As long as you can and you have that pre-approval, you'd be able to move forward. These homes must be owner occupied, so you cannot buy it with the intent of renting them out, because then you'll be forced to sell that home, right? These are meant for owner occupants, people who want to stay in their community, who want to stay local. And then you must have less than $75,000 in assets. So again, you must have less than $75,000 across all of your accounts to be eligible. If you have a voucher, so if you are a holder of a Section 8 Housing Choice voucher, you could also qualify to purchase, right? Boston Housing Authority has down payment assistance, which is exclusive to their members and their residents, but there are also some other housing authorities. So I would encourage you to contact your housing authority to see what they offer in terms of home ownership, okay? This project or these homes will be sold via lottery. It's not first come, first serve. It's going to be based on a lottery so that it is fair and everyone has an equal and fair opportunity to be selected and to own. Okay. We do not know when that lottery will be at this time, but we will inform you. So we are making you aware so you can prepare now. And then we will keep you updated via email and contact, like calling you to make sure you apply for these when they do come online. Okay. There is a preference for Boston residents and for the accessible unit. So if you need an accessible unit, there's a preference for you. And then if you are a Boston resident, there is a preference for you as well. I just want to remind you guys of the income tiers. So you are looking at a 1-person up to a 6-person household. And these are the different income tiers, right? 80, 90, or 100% area median income. For ease to not overwhelm you, look at the 100% AMI. And as long as you are below that number, you are okay to move forward. You can be on that number exactly. So you can be a household of 2 earning $130,600. Do not go over that. As long as your income is below that, at or below that number, you are eligible to move forward. So I'm bringing up the prices again because I want you guys to take a look at them. We've already done the math to show you the monthly housing costs. I think these sales prices, they're relative, right? It can mean nothing to you because what does it cost me monthly to live there? Okay. So you like the units, you've seen the floor plans, you check our social media, you'll actually see some renderings of what your units can look like, which are beautiful. We want you now to think of what are next steps, right? Your most immediate next steps are to complete your first time home buyers class. We'll send you guys the link to register for that as soon as we're finished. You're going to make sure your finances are in order. You need a minimum of a 640 credit score. Okay. So if you do not have a 640 credit score, reach out to us because we need to help you repair your credit immediately. And credit takes time. That's not something that's going to be repaired in a day. It may take a month. It may take a few months. So we need to help you get there ASAP. Okay. You need a minimum of 1.5% of the down payment saved. So that's between $3,000 and $6,000 that you'll need to have saved. If you don't have that, we host budget classes to help you figure out how to manage your money so that you can save these funds. Okay. You need to have low debt. So we're working with you to figure out, how do I pay off my debt? How do I get some of my debt forgiven? What does that look like, right? Putting a plan together so that your debt is not high so that you can qualify for these. Okay. We're going to help you prepare your documents to get a pre-approval. So we're going to provide you with a list of the documents that you need so you can start saving those for when you are ready to speak with a loan officer. And then you're going to apply for the lottery once it's announced. We're going to bug you. I promise you now, we're going to be emailing you. We're going to be calling you to make sure that you submit your applications by the deadline once this lottery is announced, okay? Can't say we didn't because we documented. Can't say we didn't reach out to you. We call everyone. We email everyone to make sure that you submit your application, okay? So a lot of people are like, what do you mean luxury living for less? Right? This is not luxury. This is an affordable house. Well, it depends on what luxury means to you, right? So these homes are brand new construction made with quality materials. So I think that's a luxury compared to what some people are purchasing when they're buying older homes that need repairs, that need to be updated. You don't have that worry. You don't have that concern, right? You also have a 1-year builder's warranty. So they're there to make sure that, anything that goes wrong with your property structurally, they can take care of. Okay. So how do we help you build wealth? We want you to purchase at a price that you can afford so that you can stabilize your housing costs. Wouldn't it be great that you were able to qualify for this home while you're making, let's say, $50,000 a year? You purchase, you're able to own, and your housing cost is what? $1,400 for the studio. And then you go and you apply for different jobs, apply for a promotion at your job, and now you're able to make $80,000. Well, guess what? You don't have to worry about your housing costs going up. You're still only going to pay $1,400 a month, but now you're making more money, right? What you do with that difference is how you build wealth, right? You should not upgrade your lifestyle per se, but really think of, how do I strategically invest that difference so that I can live the life that I want in the future, right? Because you have unrestricted earning potential. The day after you close, you can win the lottery. You can go after that big promotion or that big job, right? There's no restrictions. No one's coming to check on your income every year. There's no annual certification. Once you qualify and you close on that house, no one's checking on your income anymore. We want you to be able to focus on your goals. This is the starting point, right, of your wealth journey. We want you to leverage this, again, stabilize your housing costs so that all the doors open up for you in the future. You don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, my landlord just told me my rent is going to go up $500, $1,000. You don't have to worry about that, right? You get to utilize your potential equity upon the sale to purchase your next property. We want to help people understand this may be your first home, right? It does not have to be your forever home depending on your goals, right? If you want to live in a single family in the suburbs, it is still possible, but leverage this to stabilize your housing cost so that you can take the savings, right, on a monthly basis and invest that. And then when you sell this property, take the proceeds from this sale and use that as your down payment on your next home. There's so many options available to you that we don't want you to miss out on it. And we hope that you love luxury living for less at Memento on Talbot, located at 270 Talbot Ave. We invite you to ask all of your questions. Happy to answer any questions that you may have. If you are interested and you have not filled out the form on the website, please visit mementoontalbot.com so that you can complete the interest form. So we will be in touch with you to figure out where you are and what you need to do to qualify for this opportunity. We thank you for joining us. We hope you have an amazing day.